Hi guys, as you can see I'm feeling a little bit brighter today. I've got my makeup on, although I still don't look great. And I saw my psychologist last night and I've got so much that I want to tell you, but I've really got to try and stay calm so that I can get it out and it makes sense. And also I've got to remember that what applies to me isn't going to apply to all of you, but it might do. So I'm going to try and keep it a little bit general so that you can make it applicable for yourselves. But basically, I want you all to know that you're not ill. There's nothing wrong with you. You might have agoraphobia, you might have panic disorder, you might have anxiety, depression, but there is nothing wrong with you. As in, obviously you're suffering with a disorder or whatever, but what I want you to try and imagine is that the way you're feeling and the way you're reacting to the world and the way the world is making you feel is down to the world. Now, that probably doesn't make sense. I'm not wording this very well. We've reacted to how other people treat us and what's expected of us, and that is why, without realising it subconsciously, we have become the way we have. Now, I hope that makes sense. I'll try and give you an example. It may have been something that happened years ago that at the time you didn't think it was that big of a deal. You know, you may have swept it under the carpet or put it to the back of your mind, because that's what I did. Things that happened when I was younger, nothing really horrendous, you know, not abuse or anything like that. I'm not saying you haven't been, but for me personally, haven't been abused or anything like that, but just certain things that happened in my life, certain instances and situations and friendships and relationships helped to form who we are today. And obviously they're not all going to be positive relationships and experiences and things. And especially if they've happened when you're younger, you're more susceptible to be moulded by them. And I know that I have, definitely. Now, what I've done, what I've been told, is what a lot of people do, where you take the attitude, well, that happened, it's in the past, I can't change it. If it's happened, it's already happened, you can't change it. But there is ways of dealing with it. And at the time, you may not have dealt with it. And as it turns out, I haven't dealt with certain things that have happened and the way that I've been made to feel. And instead, I've gradually formed almost this safety blanket of agoraphobia around me to keep myself safe. It's our way of not having to take risks with people or with life. So we close ourselves off, and we can blame everything on the phobia, as in, you know, I'm not doing this because I mean, we're not choosing to be like this, don't get me wrong. This isn't a conscious choice we've made, it's subconscious. But we believe that because of the way the outside world may or may not perceive us, and we can't control it, it's safer to stay closed off, to protect ourselves. And to me, that has made a lot of sense, because I do worry constantly about what other people think of me. I worry about how I'm being perceived, and I worry about if I'm liked. And so I've tried to keep up this facade that everything's fine, and I try to please people, and I try to be who they want me to be instead of being myself, because I'm too worried that if I am myself, they're not going to like me, or they're going to judge me, and they won't understand me. And so it's hard work keeping up that front. And that's why we get so anxious and uptight when we go out and we do things, because we're trying so hard to be something we're not, that the anxiety builds up and the panic, and it's much safer and easier to just go home or stay home and not have to deal with that fear. So what I've been told that I need to try and do is to think about my past and the things that have been outlined. My psychologist has done a summary, because we've had 4 sessions now. The usual pattern goes, you have 4 sessions indoors, collecting all the history, getting to know me, what my problems are, what my thought patterns are, what worries me, and then she pulls it all together and puts it into a letter format. And so my homework, if you like, is to read it through, because she said she read it through to me and I didn't react, as in I didn't get upset and I didn't really show any emotion. And she said, and I don't show my emotions. I don't show anger, and I don't really cry. I've got to be really, really down and generally on my own to be able to cry. And I said it's because I feel as though people will think I'm feeling sorry for myself. I'm having a pity party. And so I have kind of closed off my emotions. And she said, but that means you're living life in a robotic fashion. You know, you're just trying to be how you think people want you to be, and not actually keeping in touch with your emotions, which is true. So I have got to read through this letter and try and really think back to how I felt at the time and the emotions, and see if I can kind of unlock it a bit. Because I said that if I read this letter and knew that it was things that had happened to someone else, I would sympathise with them, and I would understand that certain things would have made them upset and hurt them. But I can't seem to have that sympathy for myself. So I need to try and let myself off the hook and let go. Because once I can accept that and let my emotions go, I won't be trying to control them all the time. So I won't be putting all that work and effort in to keep up this front. And then once I can do that, hopefully I then won't feel such a need to control all the external things in my life, which I do at the moment. And I need to remember that it's okay to just be me. And if people don't like me, they don't like me. You know, I can't read their minds. There's no good me trying to look into a crystal ball and work out what people think of me, because I'm never going to know. So all I can do is be myself. If they like me, they like me. If they don't, they don't. Now, I really hope this has come across right, all of this, because I'm just doing it off the top of my head. She obviously worded it a lot better than I have, and I don't want to go too deep and too personal into what was written, but it does make me see that what she said, that the agoraphobia is masking the real issues, and that I truly believe. No one suddenly wakes up and is agoraphobic. Something has triggered it. Something has made it happen. worry, stress, a situation, something has caused that to happen in your mind, and then obviously it develops. It's not instant, and it morphs into other fears. And I know that a lot of the things that I am fearful at the moment, I'm not actually fearful of. Does that make sense? Like when I was younger, I've been on planes, I've been on trains, I've been on buses, and yet I can't do any of those things at the moment. But I'm sure if I could feel more confident, have more self-esteem and believe in myself and my abilities and worry less about other people and what they're thinking of me, I'll be a much happier person. It will be such a relief to feel that I am good enough, that I am a worthy person, and that I haven't got to be something I'm not. So I'm going to listen to this back and hope that this makes sense. And I want you to know that it's called CAT, Cognitive Analytical Therapy, and it's going to be followed up with CBT, the Cognitive Behavioural Therapy. So next week I am going to go out with the psychologist, and she's going to drive. Now, I haven't got in a car and let someone else drive me for a very, very, very long time, years. We're only going to do a short journey, so we'll stay within my sort of safety zone, but in my mind, the control will be with her because she's driving. So things are on the up. Hope you guys are doing okay, and I hope I've made sense.